Hello, what's up? This is Natalie broadcasting to you at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, April 28th for Game Builder class at Yukodit with Eline Media. So, welcoming everybody to class tonight and to the live cast. Uh, hey, Ollie, good to see you. Um, as usual, I will be talking about game development on this stream for the next hour, answering your questions, and hopefully helping you move forward on your Unity project. So say hi if you are in the chat, just so I know you're here. And I wanted to let folks know as you are joining in that I've had a few connection problems this week streaming. So if the cast cuts off, just wait and it should come back around. Um, Sometimes you need to reload the page to refresh the connection. But I think there's just a lot of internet use going on right now, and I've had some times where it just starts going like this and it says buffering, and there's nothing to be done except wait for it to come back. So hopefully it'll be all good today, but no promises because it's just the eternal unreliability of technology we're working with here. So once again, if you're here, if you're joining in, just let me know. I'm hoping to talk about everybody's projects today. Um, Lots of stuff to do on the projects that are the cat and dog based games. I have some fun stuff to show you guys relating to the project that involves using a chair as the player controller, which was Thomas's idea. And hopefully, if we have time, we can touch on the race car project Francis is working on as well. But I won't start talking about any of those until I see folks in the chat letting me know that they are here, because of course it would be crazy for me to talk about student projects if none of my students are here on the cast tonight. Um, Although in the long run, if they don't join in, I will just cast away because, of course, these videos are available on our YouTube channel. You can watch them at any time during the week after the cast. That's Make Room on YouTube. You can Google Make Room to watch all of the recordings of our live casts and refer back to anything I've said in these videos. So that's a nice aspect of doing online education that we certainly didn't have when we were there at Kidville in Montclair. So, it's a trade off. Um, so as the sound outside of people clapping subsides, um, I see Ali in the chat saying both have pros and cons. Yes, it's definitely true. Of course, it's nice, I used to commute about 2 hours to get to Kidville from my apartment in Manhattan, which is where I am now. And now I just have to walk into the office and turn on the computer. So that's a pro of online learning. But I do kind of miss seeing everybody and having us be all together in one room. Someday in the future, I assume we will all go back to the normal form of education we had in the past. But for now, at least we don't have to drive anywhere or walk anywhere or ride bikes. We just sit in our offices and the education comes to us. So, yeah, hopefully soon, right? They're talking about some things being unlocked gradually, but we all have to be really careful because we don't want to see another spike in cases of COVID. So we can't get too lax yet. We got to take care of everybody and be safe. So, um, anyway, I wanted to just talk generally about what's happening, and hopefully, folks, as they're joining in, will say hi in the chat just so I know everybody's here. Um, but hey, I see Greg in the chat. Good to see you, Greg. Glad you're joining tonight. Um, the plan for today, of course, is going to be for me to talk about game development for the next hour or so until around 8 o'clock. And then we're starting something new today, which is that I will be holding virtual office hours starting at 8 o'clock. That goes from 8 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday nights. So if you have questions about Unity or you want to talk to me live, you can join my office hours at 8 p.m. and I will be in a video chat that you can also chat to me in. So unlike on the live cast here on Twitch, you will be able to show up on video and audio and talk to me the way I'm talking to you. So that's available to you if you want to have a little bit more direct contact and figure out something specific that's going on in your project, or get goals from me if you're not sure what to do. That'll be again at 8 o'clock tonight as soon as the live cast is over. And if you want to join that, there will be a link in the emails that are coming to you from Haley at Yukodit. So you can just click on that link anytime after 8 o'clock and before 8:30 to see me in that Google Hangouts meet. So that's going to happen tonight. And in the meantime, I will be talking about people's projects. And we've got some parameters here on what's going to happen in the next few weeks that I also wanted to go over with folks. Once again, if anybody else is joining, say hi in the chat so I know you're here. If you are a Yukodit Game Maker, of course, we love knowing that you're here so we can take attendance for the class and also just address the instructions that I'm giving to you specifically. So as always, say hi if you've joined. I'm going to show you guys the website for the digital game making challenge that we are involved with right now, just to remind you the larger parameters, the larger framework of what we're working on with these game projects. I haven't talked about this in a few weeks because we've been focused so much on Unity and getting everything running. But we are making games for this April 2020 challenge. It is on the theme of Alone Together. And of course, we're coming to the end of April, and so I wanted to update you on that and just let you know that we are extending the deadline for submissions to the Game Making Challenge to May 4th. So that's a little less than a week from today. We'll be closing the portal. It should open later this week, so you'll have about a week to wrap up and submit something if you want to make a submission. So, of course, this is open to all the studios that I run, not just the one in New Jersey, but also the studio in New York. And we'll be gathering builds of people's games to showcase on the Make Room website. So, with that in mind, I have a couple comments. One is that you are, of course, not strictly required to submit a game by that date if you don't have something ready. So this deadline is helpful but not binding, which means if your project's not done, then it's not done and don't worry about it. But it's there for you if you really want to get excited about game development and put up something, really interesting and have my eyes and the developers at Eline Media and some of the other Make Room instructors check it out. So it's something to keep in mind. Following that extended May 4th deadline, we will be doing about a month of game making where our goal is to take a game we already have and really make it a nice game. So polishing an existing game project with publishing that game online as your goal. That's going to be the next project. So in May, we won't have an additional game making challenge with a theme. We'll be doing a different focus where we talk about not just how to come up with a game, but how to work on a game so that you can present it to some other people besides the people on your studio team and have them really enjoy playing that game. So the good news about that is at this point, everybody in this studio has an existing game making project, and you can just keep working on what you've already been doing throughout the month of May, and you'll be going right along with what everybody at all of our studios is working on. And then at the end of May, of course, we'll be featuring some polished games, and you'll have a second chance around the end of May, beginning of June to submit a project. So this is great news for folks who maybe can't submit something next week. No worries about that because you'll be able to submit something in a month. And throughout the month of May, we'll be talking about how to push your project forward, how to make it really fun, little tweaks you can do to make it just a little bit better. And of course, as usual, answering your questions and meeting your projects where they're at and just helping them move along forward. So that's the larger structure of what's going to happen to us in the next month or so. And, if you are a member of this team, I hope you're excited about continuing to work on these projects. Moving forward, of course, you're always more than, we are more than happy for you to just make a game outside of a game making challenge or the lesson that I'm doing. It's totally your call if you want to make something that is your idea. So, say you're like, I don't want to do Alone Together. I just want to make something totally different. And, I want Natalie to take a look. You can do that. Just make the Unity project, add me as a collaborator, and we are going to do whatever we can to help you be successful with whatever you want to be creative about. So, additionally to these deadlines and the theme for the month, whether it's a challenge or whether it's polishing a game, or maybe in the future we'll focus on some specific aspects of game development like building a player controller. All that aside, of course, it's an open slate to your creativity. If you do have a game project that you passionately want to work on that project and let us know because we are here to help. Cool. Awesome. So I'm just going to, just shout out one more time if you happen to be joining us from the Yukodit game making studio and you haven't said hi in the chat yet, just let me know you're here. Give a wave. I do see Greg has joined us, which is fantastic. And if anybody else is here, of course, I want to know you're joining us. But knowing that Greg is definitely on the cast, I wanted to kick this off with a tour through some Unity basics. And then I'm going to move into some more specific game development tips and techniques that will be focused around the project that Thomas is scoping. So I had gotten an email from Thomas that had a fantastic game idea, and I wanted to explore how you would implement that idea a little bit. So that'll be my second part of the cast, and I think you'll like the game idea, and the implementation of it is really fun and easy. But I wanted to just start out with some reminding you guys some little tricks and basics in fixing common problems that you might encounter in Unity. So I'm going to do that in Greg's project, just because I know Greg's here. I think I saw Thomas hop in the chat for a second there. So shout out to Thomas as well. Glad you're joining us. So I've emailed a couple people this tip, but I wanted to go over it here on the cast because it's just so useful. And I really think that, if there's one thing you should know when you're in the Unity editor, it's how to fix the layout of the editor when something goes wrong. Looks like I buffered for a second. Okay, I'm back. So basically, what can happen when you're working in the Unity editor is, you're used to it looking like this, but then something disappears. So, for example, this suddenly is over there, and then it's behind the inspector, and, no idea where it is, right? Yeah, I see Francis in the chat. Hey, Francis, welcome. All kinds of crazy things can happen in this, right? Because all of the pieces of the Unity editor are these modular windows. Of course, if you're experienced with Unity, you know this, but it bears reminding. that these sections of Unity are like slots, and the windows stack in the slot like pieces of paper. So if you look here, we have the game and the asset store, for example. The game is stacked on top of the asset store uh, like a piece of paper. And what can happen is, when I click on the asset store, of course, the game is behind it now. But then these windows can also act not just like a piece of paper, but also like this gooey blob that reshapes itself. So as you saw, the scene can be there, and what I just did is I popped it completely out. It can end up here, it can end up there, it can end up like that, which is really unsettling. This can be like this. This is like just, and it's easy to do this when you're clicking around, and now I've got my Unity editor like this. And, if it looks like this, you really can't use it and you don't know where anything is. And so if this happens to you, there is a very easy way to fix this. And it is by going to the top of the screen here and clicking on Window, hovering over Layouts, and clicking on the word Default. And now I'm back to where I was. Okay. So one thing I will recommend to you guys is if you're in a situation of I can't figure out why it's not working, start by resetting your layout and then go from there. That may not be the problem, but a lot of times it is. So when you've got the layout reset, I always stop talking when I see I've got the screen on the other computer here, and I notice when it's buffering, and I try to stop talking. All right, let's wait until the stream comes back online, and then we'll keep going. Okay, trying to come back, trying to come back. Okay. Uh, hey, folks. It looks like I'm back. Looks like I'm back. I hope you guys can hear me. Just let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I had to stop the stream and start it again. We've had a lot of internet connectivity issues this week, and cool, cool, awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, it's going back again. All right, all right, all right. All right, I'm getting some throughput here. This little icon here on my casting app tells everything. Yeah, Ollie's saying it's still buffering a lot. We try to keep the quality low so it's not the video that's the problem. Looks like it's running now, so hopefully I can keep going. All right. So, reset the window is just a baseline thing to fix your game. And then, I've reset this and I'm looking in the screen here and I'm like, how do I get back to my game? And then what applies is I need to move the scene so that I can see where my stuff is. Okay. And the way I'm doing that is actually I'm pressing down on the middle button of the mouse, so the scrolly wheel. So this guy right here, I'm pressing on that and dragging the mouse up and down to find where I'm at in the scene. But I wanted to show you guys another trick that's super useful for locating things. And so, like, say I'm down here, right? And oh my gosh, where's the game? Like, it's gone, and I'm so confused. I'm scrolling and I'm panning, and oh, it's up there. How do I get back there? An easy way is to find something in the game over here in this list. Now, when you reset the layout to the default layout, all the list of things will be hidden, and you'll need to unroll this by clicking this little arrow over here, and then it'll show all of the things. So when I click on this arrow, that's what I mean when I say unroll. It's like I'm unrolling a list, like a scroll is unrolling. And what I like to do is I like to find the player, and that in this case is dog player. And I click on dog player, and then I put the cursor just hovering anywhere in the scene window, and I press the letter F. And that zooms right in on that game object for me. So again, that can be really great if like, okay, now I'm just infinity miles away and oh, da, 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 let's go for a ride. And then where's the game? It's gone. It's over there. I click on dog player, I hover the cursor over the scene, I press F, and it zooms me right back to the dog. So that's just a really helpful way of relocating yourself. And I just wanted to go over that one more time for everybody because I think everybody in this class has different techniques for this. But this is a really effective technique that I use all the time, and I would love for you guys to remember it. So again, your big reset, I'm going to go Window, Layouts, Default. And then to relocate my game, I need to find a game object that I know is in the center of my scene, click on it, hover the cursor in the scene, and press the letter F. Then I'm here, I can find where I'm going and start working on my scene once again. And so, of course, if I were Greg in this scene, what I would be working on is I need to fill this in and make it into a park. My memory of Greg's game is, of course, that he wants to turn this into a park. And these that you're seeing in my window are just examples of things that I threw in this scene last week, just to demo some environment design basics. Looks like I'm buffering again. So I'm just going to wait for the stream to come back, hopefully. Hopefully it will. We can never know what's really going to happen. This is my favorite part of being a caster in the age of the coronavirus. Cool, fun times. Looks like I'll have to stop the stream and start it again. All right. So, of course, if you're watching this video later, you can enjoy all of the wonderful game development things I talk about without having to wait whilst Twitch reconnects you to my beautiful face. And good on you. All right, let's see if this does us better. My hope is that I'll pick up some throughput. Ah, I hate it when that square is red. Oh my gosh, it went back to 0. Oh, there we are. Hey. Yep. Hey guys, welcome back. That is one of the many connection blips I've been having this week, so apologies there. I was just talking about Greg's game and saying that what I was showing in this screen is, of course, just some environment design examples. Cool. Yeah, I see Greg is typing. Yes, I want to walk through the park to get out and walk to my home before it starts to rain, and along the way, the dog has to collect bones to walk faster. Love it. That is a great, great idea. That is a fantastic game idea, and what you're going to want to do with a game idea like that is start out by setting up an environment. So, first off, we need the park that the dog walks in. And that's what I'm looking for in this scene. So, Greg, I'll go ahead and send you what's here. And hopefully this is a good place for you to start. So you'll want to do one more download when you get a chance. Hopefully this doesn't kill my bandwidth throughput. Okay, cool. All right, so I wanted to talk about the game that I was sort of prototyping here based on Thomas's game idea. And, I'm not connected with Thomas's project. I think Thomas is pretty competent to do Unity development without me there managing his Unity project. But so, Thomas, if you're listening and this is redundant, um, hopefully there's some aspects of it that do prove useful in the development flow that you're actually working with. But this is really for everybody. So definitely listen up. It's not just about Thomas's project. It's about how you would go from an idea, just like the idea that Greg described in the chat, and actually turn that into a video game. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is switch into an example project I've got. And then I'm pulling up here the text of an email I got from Thomas that was a couple sentences that described what I thought was a really funny idea for a video game that fits in this challenge. So Thomas writes, he wants to do a simple four-direction controller with a possible but not necessary jump ability for a chair. He has to push other pieces of furniture to their designated location. There's a song playing, but when it stops, he has 1 second to stop, or else the game is over. Great. So that's a great idea. And what's great about it is the genre of the game is clear, the challenges are clear, and the goal is clear. So we really know everything we need to actually implement this. So just going to show you guys a few basics of how I would start to work on a game like this. Now, last week I showed you how I would create a chair as a player controller. And I'm going to do that again really quick just to reiterate the process of changing the visuals while keeping the behavior the same. So again, if I want to make this, instead of a cat, be a chair, all I have to do is find my chair. So I'm going to look in prefabs here. And what I need to do is make it a child game object of this cat player. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually just take this stuff underneath, the cat and the rig, which I've already learned are the visuals of this cat, and I'm going to just deactivate those. And then I'm going to come down here and grab this chair and make it a child of the cat. Now it's sitting over there, and for me to fix that problem, I need to reset its transform, maybe but without resetting the scale. So I'm going to just go 0, 0, 0, and with that done, I should be good to move my chair around. Yeah. So, this is an overhaul of an existing player controller, and it's a great way to go if you want to prototype gameplay fast. Start with something you already have and just change out the visuals. See if you can get that to work. Sort of like last week I was talking about in Francis's game, we can use that existing race car and just change the visuals so that it's a different car. This project has the same functionality where I just take the cat and I switch it out for a chair. And, happily it comes with jumping. So we get that possible ability. Cool. So if I want to create a dynamic where this chair is pushing other furniture, I'm going to need to do some setup in here. Let's remind ourselves what the game idea was. Simple four-direction controller with a possible jump ability, so we've done that. Now, here's the second part. He has to push other pieces of furniture to their designated location. Okay, so that's our next implementation task. And then there's also the idea of this song system, right? So what I'm going to do on this cast is I'm just going to talk about how you would implement this, right? Now, some of the stuff I'm going to show you guys for pushing furniture This is not that different from, for example, what Greg said about having the dog collect bones. Um, or, for example, if you wanted to, in Christian's project, have the cat knock things off of tables and get points each time, it would be a similar type of setup as what I'm going to do here. So I'll try to explain what's similar and then what's unique to an implementation like this. Shout out to Christian, by the way. Welcome. I'm so glad you're tuning in. And I'm reading that Francis here in the chat is saying, I found a game which I want to base it on. Awesome. Always excited to hear about games that are providing you with inspiration. So, feel free to link us to that so we can check it out. Can't guarantee I'll play it right now, but cool. We've got a link in the chat. Okay. So, I want to have this be able to push this. And what I need for that is I need this to have two components. Looks like I'm buffering again. So momentary pause. Hopefully I return back. Cool, that was only a minute of buffering. Okay, cool. So if I want to be able to push the couch, this is going to need two things. It needs a collider and it needs a rigid body. And I can give it those two things, which make it something you can interact with by clicking on Add Component. So I'm going to add a box collider. Let's click Edit Collider. And I already got a nice big box that goes around the outside of the couch. Then I add a rigid body. And this makes the couch subject to physics. In other words, it doesn't just sit there like an unmovable rock, like I can actually knock it over. And now, having added those two components to this object, I can hit play and I should be able to push that couch. Cool. Okay. So the first step here, if you want to make objects something that you can interact with a character like this, you've got what it looks like. You've got the mesh. And then it's up to you to add a collider. And to then, if you want, add a rigid body. Now, if I were working on Christian's game, for example, and I said to myself, I want to be able to jump up on this chair, but I don't want the chair to be knocked over when I run into it. That's a situation where then I'm just going to add a collider. So I add a box collider here. Now this is just a variation, right? I drag the top down so it's about maybe at the level of the seat. I can kind of judge that by coming over here. That's close. And then I don't put a rigid body. And I've got a difference here where I can push this. Meanwhile, this one I can run into, but I can't push it. And then if I want to jump on it, I can jump up and sit on the seat. Now, that's really weird looking, but okay. Looks like I'm stuck on there forever, which is fun. But of course, as we know, we need to set anything we stand on as ground or we can't jump off of it. So I think, there we go. Yeah, much better. So just some different settings, but anytime you want to make something that you can't, that you've got, that you can't run through it, you're going to put a collider. You want to be able to knock it over, you're going to put a rigid body. Okay. So I've got chair and the chair. I've got the furniture I can push, right? And now if I were Thomas, I would start to set up the level with the furniture laid out in the way he wants it to start out at the beginning of the game. So if you have to push furniture into certain locations. I'm going to put a pile of furniture in some other locations and start the player somewhere where they slide over to the furniture and start pushing it around. Okay. I'm not going to do a big environment design, but of course that would be the next step here in a project like this. And then the next step is to do some scripting. Let's take this chair out. Now, if you're watching this and you're Thomas and you want to learn how to script this element, I would pay attention pretty closely. If you're watching it and you're not Thomas, this is actually pretty useful information. And if you want to work towards being able to work with scripts in Unity, you know, listen up, because some of the things I'm going to talk about are absolutely generally true anytime you want to write a script, which gives you the ability to customize the behavior of your game. So, of course, if you want to have it do something like, say, know when it's in the right location, it's up to you to make it know, right? So I'm going to show you this real quick. It's a very short set of scripts, but the key is to make the two scripts that you need for this communicate with each other. Before I start scripting, though, what I need to set up is an ideal location for the object that I'm going to push. And I want to show you guys a fun way of setting that up. But before I do that, there's a type of thing in Unity, and I'm curious if anyone knows what that is. It's a type of collider, and when I walk into the collider, it sets off something to happen in the game. This has a certain name to it, and in fact, you can see the name in the settings for any collider you add. Let's press pause for a moment while my stream reconnects. I'm getting no throughput once again. Hopefully I'm back. Hello. Sorry about that, guys. We are back at the orange chair and doing a tutorial. Stop buffering, please. Cool. Okay. Okay, it's green. All right. Back at the orange chair. Could you repeat the everything? Cool. Yes, no problem, no problem. So we were looking for a way to set up a system where we can push this and cool. We were looking for a place we were looking to set this up so we push it and it runs into a place in the scene that knows it's ended up there. And what I'm looking for essentially is I am looking for a trigger. And that was what I was asking about before the stream cut off. I was like, what is a thing in a game that's a collider, but you can enter into it and it can set off something else in the game. That is a trigger. And we need a trigger volume so that we would know that this couch had entered into the location where it belongs. And so to create a trigger volume, I am going to actually do a fun little trick. Hello, hello. I'm incredibly annoyed by how often this is cutting off. So, uh, yeah, sorry guys. Really, really a bummer. Um, I'm hoping it stays connected, but I can't promise it will. Um, Hopefully we can get a few more minutes out of this before the internet just absolutely kills the fun. It looks like my stream is running right now, so I would love for that to continue. Yep. Okay. So I will try to reconstruct what I was saying and finish this in the next 20 minutes, because it's a really fun implementation and I really wanted to show Thomas how to do it. So um, hope you guys can hear me now that I am back and hanging out with this orange couch and this cube. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to set up a trigger volume using this cube that's gonna make it about the same size as the couch, and then make this be the area that I'm trying to push the couch to. And so I've gone create a 3D object in cube, and oh my gosh. I am back momentarily. Um, hey, so I am hardwired to the router with an Ethernet cable. This is not I'm not casting over Wi-Fi, so the issue appears to be related to the router, or perhaps we're just experiencing bad connection weather. So yeah. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to continue this cast given how much it's cutting off. I think I'm probably going to just call it because the amount of disconnections are just making it almost impossible. Yeah, we are on a pretty low quality here, and um, the Ethernet is connected. So, um, actually, let's take a pause. I'm going to stop the stream momentarily and see if there's any possibility of reducing the quality any further. So just stand by, guys. Hopefully we can set some settings and resolve this issue. Fine. Thanks for your patience, everybody. I did reduce a couple settings, and I changed the server that I'm using for Twitch. So let's see if that gives us any bandwidth back. I've got a green light here, which is good news. So hopefully I can talk to you for the next little while and it won't cut off. So let me know if you guys can hear me and you're still there. Thanks again for waiting while technical difficulties interfere. Man, it's never perfect. I just saw that buffering thing again, but it looks like it's still mostly coming through. Great. I see Greg saying awesome. Cool. Yeah, this has been such a bummer. I when I started casting for you guys, it was never would never cut off like that. And I haven't really changed anything about my setup, so I'm somewhat confused about why, now it just works so much worse than it did when I started. So we'll figure it out, hopefully. And I really did want to finish this because it was cool. So let's see how much we can get done. I'll talk for the next few minutes about this orange couch situation. And yeah, Ollie's saying, yeah, probably there's a lot of people on the server right now. It's true. I will be having virtual office hours tonight. That is 8 o'clock tonight. So I'll talk for about 10 minutes more, and then I will be available in the Google Hangouts link provided to you guys from Haley on email. So if you want to join those office hours, you can click on that link about 10 minutes from now, and you will join a video chat with me. You'll be on video too. You can turn your video off and just do audio if you want, but you will have to, verbally talk to me to communicate. So just make sure that your mic is on and your webcam is working. If you have an Eline laptop, you should definitely have no problem joining the office. So that will be at 8 o'clock tonight, and I've got 10 minutes to talk about this cube. Hopefully it doesn't buffer me out of my 10 minutes. Okay. It's buffering. Cool. Okay. Um, so let's just wait for that to come back around. And I wanted to, again, basically, I'm not going to be able to show the scripts that I had for you today, but what I can show is how you would make this cube into a trigger volume. And the way I would do that is I would resize the cube to be about the same size as the couch. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I've got something that looks like this standing right behind the couch. And then what I was gonna do is I have a box collider already that comes with this cube, which is really nice. And all I have to do to make this a trigger is I check is trigger. And then if I want to turn off that visual of the cube, I can just uncheck the mesh renderer. So you can see that's still sitting there and it's ready to detect the couch hitting it and coming inside it. And I don't see a box. So that was what I wanted to show you guys. And your next step in this implementation, if your Thomas is, you would be adding a script attached to that trigger that's going to detect when the couch runs into it. So when the couch runs into it, I'm going to trigger some gameplay state like increment a count of furniture placed, or add to a point score, a point total, something like that. And that's how you would start to set up a system where you were tracking whether or not furniture was in the right location. So for now, my gameplay isn't any different. I've got the couch and I can push it into the trigger. And of course, nothing happens because thanks to the eternally buffering internet, I did not have a chance to code up the script that would trigger something to happen. However, let me show you what the outcome of this would be because I do have sort of like when you're watching a baking show and you put the ingredients together and then they take the finished one out of the oven. I do have one where I did code this up. So I'll show you guys that really quick. And then next week, I'll come back and show you exactly how I would set these scripts up. So I implemented this already in another scene, and I created a trigger for this white chair such that, let's see if that's the right canvas. No, it's the other one. Yeah. I created a trigger here in the corner for this white chair called white chair trigger. And I wrote a quick script that does do what I was just talking about, which is it notices when the chair runs into it. And it actually communicates with this other little script called the game manager, which is then tracking how many objects have been put in their correct locations. Cool. Buffering. It tracks how many objects have been put in the correct locations and then updates that on the screen. So let's see if this still works. So I've got this thing that says total placed here at the top, and I push this over. Oh man. Does it matter that I knocked it over? I feel like no. And now it says total placed equals 1. And so what I've got going on there now is, again, when that chair hits that trigger, which we can see if we go like this, that number at the top of the screen goes up. So I'll show you that one more time. Maybe this time I won't knock it over. Oh, be careful. Doop, 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 doop. Okay. Charence, you're hard to move around. There we go. Total placed 1, right? So, of course, your general idea here is going to be you're going to want to set it up to work like that. And, again, just a few minutes here before I'm going to log and hop into my office hours. But, you know, what you need to do to implement this once you've got the scene set up this way with these triggers is 2 very short scripts. 2 very short scripts. So I would say stay tuned because I'll talk about how to do that setup next week. And then I can extrapolate from that example and show you how to use similar types of scripts to set up a system where you would collect bones, which was Greg's game idea. I think a fantastic one. And in Christian's game, we could also use similar logic. So really, at least 3 of the games here could benefit from this kind of system. But the key, of course, is that you have to set the environment up correctly with the pieces that you want to use. And in the case of Thomas's game, we need the furniture. We need them to have rigid body and box collider. And then we need those triggers. So we need these invisible areas where when this goes in here, we can attach some script to that invisible box and cause things to happen in the game when something interacts with that box, when something passes inside it. So, I would challenge you, Thomas, to see if you could work out how to script this. It's 2 very short scripts, but it takes a little bit of doing to figure out how to make everything work together. And if you don't have the time or you don't have the wherewithal to set it up, no worries, because I will talk about this implementation next week and continue on just kind of getting everybody's projects rolling forward. So I have, endless apologies for the technical difficulties today. I'm going to do some research after this class, and hopefully I'll come back to you with a better connection next week. Um, I am happy to help you with a collider, Christian. I see a question in the chat there coming in about colliders. Um, if you want to chat with me, hop into those office hours. I will be there on the video for the next 30 minutes. Again, that's private. It's just for you guys from Yukodit. So anyone else who watches this live cast will hop off, and it'll just be folks who join me in person for that meeting. You can just click on the link. Christian, I'm happy to help you with the bed collider. Um, I will talk to you about that if you join the office hours after this, or I can just log into your game and see if I can reset it. Just real quickly, I know exactly what the problem is. We've got a situation here where the dog can jump up on not just on the bed, but we've got some collider action going on next to the bed. Which is very typical and common in games, right? It's like, where is it really? So I'd be happy to help with that kind of thing, and just figure out, why am I able to walk over here? But overall, this is looking fantastic. Looking fantastic. Just a good setup, and I think just shouting out to Christian for doing a great job with this. And I would love to see the rest of the house too. So it looks like the rest of the house is going to be right here. And we'll just need to keep working on adding the colliders and getting things set up the way we want them to. So we need a collider on the couch here, and we can start adding objects with rigid body and colliders so we can push them around. And from there, it's not too long before we can add some really fun logic. All right. I am going to end the video. My stream disconnected again, which is such a bummer. But thanks for watching, and I'm going to go join the students in the Google Hangout. Meanwhile, if you're watching this on YouTube, I would say tune in next week because we will be doing more game development. Thank you very much for watching.